Democrat to find out what's happening on their side of the aisle. Representative Adriano Espaillat represents parts of the Bronx and Manhattan, and he joins us now from his Washington office. Congressman, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you for having me.
In a statement your office released, you called yesterday a solemn day in our nation's history. Now, you voted to vacate the speaker's seat and remove Kevin McCarthy from his post. Why did you vote yes?
I voted yes because more so than perhaps the trust issue that he may have with his own colleagues in the Republican Party, he has launched an assault against women and their right to choose. He implemented severe cuts, even beyond the agreement that he made with the White House doing the deal that he did on the debt ceiling for education, Title I and Title III, which are critical to New York City, but also Head Start, food stamps, these critical programs that are so important for the people that I represent. He cut them to the bone. No disregard for the well-being of the American people. He's caught in a culture war that's dividing the country, and it manifested itself on the floor when his own party turned on him.
Congressman, you clearly have policy differences with Speaker McCarthy, but what makes you think that whoever is elected Speaker next will be more in line with your beliefs?
Well, I don't know if they will. I support a candidate for Speaker, and his name is Hakeem Jeffries. And I think he's on line with the issues that I just laid out to you. I think it's important that we stay united as a Democratic Party. We confront this culture war. I sit in the Appropriations Committee, and I see how even in my Ledge Branch Committee, they injected provisions against the LGBTQ community. They injected provisions, that are so harmful to the American family. Just a total culture war, very radical right MAGA wing stuff that I think most New Yorkers disagree with. So, my candidate for Speaker is Hakeem Jeffrey, and we should be on lockstep when the name is taken on the floor again to vote for him one more time.
Well, Republicans are in the majority. You may have a hard time convincing a lot of them to vote for Hakeem Jeffries, but we will see how this all plays out. I want to ask you what you say to the people of your district who see that the people's work is not getting done in Washington right now because of this. There are important issues that that are facing the country, and this is basically putting a stop to everything.
It is unfortunate that that is the case. What I can tell my constituents is that it wasn't like that when we had the majority, when Speaker Pelosi was in charge. We ran a very smooth ship. It had bumps along the way, but we knew that the best interest was that of the American people, that we had beyond anything else. And what we've seen is the total dysfunction of the Republican Party, and the infighting is sort of like a civil war amongst themselves. And the American people is watching every day on the 6 o'clock news how they cannot govern this nation.
Move on to another topic. You're one of the first formerly undocumented immigrants to serve in Congress. The mayor is heading to Latin America today to see firsthand what's causing so many people to seek a new life in the U.S. What do you think of the mayor making the trip to see this migrant crisis firsthand?
Well, the mayor invited me to the trip, and unfortunately, I couldn't make it. I'm here in Washington, but I think it's a good trip. I think we need to take a look at the root causes of migration and how we, as the leader of the Western Hemisphere, have pretty much turned our heads on what's happening in countries in Central and South America. And we have these crises in those countries, and people come to our shores, knocking on the door to try to establish their claim for asylum. So if you're in Venezuela and you're hungry, or you're a victim of an armed robbery, or your 13-year-old is trying to be recruited by a gang, then you're going to walk 2,000 miles and knock on the door of Lady Liberty and say, "Can I come in? This is my case. I want to make my case." And that's been the tradition of America. And so for the mayor to go there, I personally want to go to El Darien, which is the Panamanian jungle, to see for myself what it is that the women and children that are going through this horrible journey go through on a daily basis. What I hear is horrible stories of people dying on their way to the United States, that people are kidnapped, that they're killed there.
And
So I
Congressman,
want to see
and Congress, that is why some have called for the federal government, including President Biden, to put a stop at the border, to try to slow the flow of people into this country. Do you believe that there should be a pause at the border, where they should close the border at this time?
I don't think the border should be closed. I think that some of the issues, some of the programs that the president has put forward, the parole program and also a family reunification program through an app, are already yielding some results. Okay, I know that there's some measures that must be taken at the border. I'm not blind to that, and I don't object to having a robust discussion as what that should be. But building a wall is not the answer.
In terms of the city's right to shelter law, which the city has filed an appeal to, what do you think about that? The mayor says that he'll have to cut services if the city has to continue to pay to house asylum seekers.
Well, when you look at it, the president just allowed Venezuelans, which are a good chunk of the migrants in New York City, he just allowed them to get TPS extended, which gives them the right for work permit. Once they begin to work, Anthony, they're on their own. They'll rent a room, they'll rent a basement somewhere, they'll move on, just like thousands and hundreds of thousands of immigrant families have done in the past. Not different than what happened down in the Lower East Side when people were coming from Ellis Island. One year in 1907, 1.23 million immigrants came through New York City. I think it was something like 15,000 a week or more than that. And New York City had a smaller safety net and infrastructure to handle that load, and yet it did. And so we must give the city more money. I agree with the mayor on that, and we're fighting to do that, to give the city more money. And not just New York City, but all cities that are really welcoming these migrants in.
Very good. We'll leave it there. Democratic Congressman Adriano Espaillat, thank you so much for your time today.